such a time as this.
And welcome to Round Table at For Such a Time as This. Whatever happened to tolerance? Whatever happened? What happened to tolerance? We're going to take tonight to go through what is going on in the Christendom and the persecution that is going on, obviously, in our culture. For most people, I don't think a lot of people realize just how prevalent Christian persecution is in this country. And so I set the scene with a text: woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Whatever happened to tolerance? What happened to tolerance? I have with me, as always, well, not as always, but as usual, I have Abby and Vicki at Roundtable. Ladies, how are you?
Just fine.
Pretty good. The weather's getting warm again. It's March. It's the middle of March. That means spring starts next week. I'm very happy about
Abby,
that.
there's snow on the ground.
We made it through.
Yes, but not much.
Abby, there's snow on the
much.
ground.
No,
Abby.
it's melting. There's
Almost
very,
gone.
very little
It may
snow.
be melting, but there's still snow on the ground.
It
But we
was the
made it
best
through
winter we've
spring
had
ahead. Yeah, it was.
in my whole life, honestly. The warmest winter I have ever experienced. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It ain't the warmest winter I ever experienced.
We know that.
Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and Rumble if we are coming through loud and clear. Give us a thumbs up. All right, Vicki, who produced this show, the floor is yours.
So welcome, everybody. We're going to be talking about, now that the left has power, it's clear that the more power they have, the less tolerance they have for anyone who disagrees, no matter how kindly or politely we disagree. Dissent is not going to be tolerated, especially Christian dissent, of course, which is our focus. And yeah, remember the good old days with those coexist stickers?
They never meant that.
No, they never
I mean,
did.
I knew it
They
at the
never
time.
meant
I'm
to.
like, you
They
guys
never
don't
meant
mean
to.
that. You're like, coexist till we get enough power to crush you.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're laughing. That ain't funny,
No,
but it's
no.
true.
But
oh my
you
goodness,
gotta
it's
laugh,
true.
otherwise you just
yeah,
be
I
crying
know.
all
I
the
know.
time.
We just want to exist. I remember back in the '80s when the homosexual movement was coming on. We just want to exist.
We just want no, they
we
were
just
big
want-
on tolerance.
I remember down that we just want to exist. Maybe up north they were saying that. Down south they was like, we just want to exist. We want to be able to go out in public and not get beat up.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they got beat up in Texas.
I think that was happening more down south.
Yeah, you
But-
couldn't do that.
Yeah, not up here.
Well, they used to say too, get out of our bedrooms, as
Yes.
if anybody was actually in their
Get
bedroom.
out of
but
our bedrooms.
now they brought their
Now
bedroom
they're
into the schools.
Right. Now
So
yes.
You know.
I don't want to be in your bedroom, and I don't want
gosh.
your bedroom. I don't want my children in, or any children in your bedroom, but now you are forcing them to be in your bedroom.
right.
Yeah. So, and I remember even a non-believer friend of mine, when I came up to Chicago and I was explaining to him how liberal they were up here. And I remember him saying, this is a man who voted, big time Democrat voter. And I remember saying, it must have been the mid-'90s, and he started laughing. And he was like, oh, you remember where you from? They better stay in a closet down here. And this is the mid-'90s. Since then, he's been on social media hugging all the Democrat senators and presidential candidates and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he won't say that now, but anyway.
Right.
But anyway.
So yeah, there's a lot that we're going to talk about tonight. And the first one is we're going to show a clip from The View. Yes, some people actually still watch The View. I can't
wrap
imagine.
my mind
You know,
around
my
that.
wife told
anybody
me.
would willingly put themselves
Right.
through that.
My wife told me it's like one of the number one shows in the because I like, who watches The View? She said it's one of the number one shows in daytime. I said, no way, you're kidding me.
I can't.
You're
fathom
kidding me.
that.
She said, no, it is. It's one of the highest rated shows in daytime talk. I'm like, you sure? She's like, yeah, it is.
Who can stand to listen to those women? Honestly.
Yeah, it's just.
It's
just-
really, it's really hard to listen to.
I was telling Pastor James that last week I took my car to the car wash, and it's the really deluxe kind. We actually go in, and it's the building, and you sit there and wait. They have a waiting room and stuff. The View was on. I was the only one in the waiting room, but there was somebody working at the desk, and I'm sitting there, and they're talking. I started to talk back in the waiting room of the car wash. I thought, wait a
Yeah,
minute,
Abby.
I can't do that.
No, Abby, you can't do that out
This is in public.
It was
You
so
can't do that in
bad.
public.
I'm like, it was just so bad.
No, you can't do that in public.
Yeah,
But
I'd probably ask the lady at the desk, can you either turn the channel or turn it off, please? I'm the only one here. Don't make me sit through this.
But The View had one of their heroes on. Jane and I was shocked. Now, the only time I see the clips on The View is when they make it to the conservative outlets on my Twitter feed. Oh my. Jane Fonda truly is crazy.
Man, what a battle axe.
Well, Abby, you can say that.
Oh, I just did.
I don't know if I can say
And
that.
she hasn't learned a thing. As old as she is,
Oh,
she hasn't
my.
learned a thing.
She is something else.
Yeah. So here's our first clip. Yeah, it was her and Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, here we go.
The backsliding in the country is pretty terrifically awful.
It's going backwards.
And we have
Except, though,
yeah.
we have experienced many decades now of having agency over our body, of being able to determine when and how many children to have. We know what that feels like. We know what that's done for our lives. We're not going back. I don't care what the laws are. We're not going back.
I think the women will rise up.
That's the activist
That's Jane
speaking, and she probably will get a Nobel Prize.
But it's the truth.
Very soon.
It is the truth. But we're not going to do it.
Besides
We're gonna fight.
marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous. What did you say?
Murder.
She's kidding. Wait a second. She's just
Now,
kidding.
don't say that. That's
Oh, you don't know. They'll pick up on that and
Yeah,
just run
that's
with
the
it.
worst.
She's just kidding. It's
Well, let me talk to you about. Let's move on and talk about Jane's activism.
They tried to save her. Oh, don't
Oh,
say
they
that.
sure did.
Because they'll pick up on it. You're darn right we'll pick up on it. Murder.
I mean, the people who clapped
They were
and
laughing.
the laughter.
Vicky, they were laughing on the panel. They were laughing. They were laughing. When they said, "Oh, don't say that," she's joking, because they'll pick up on that. And Jane Fonda looked and said, "No, I am not joking."
No, she
The one
clearly
on the
was
end
not.
started laughing, hysterical.
Yep. And then they went on to talk about like sea creatures or something, and how people aren't caring about the sea creatures and that they're dying. I'm not kidding. I couldn't believe
See,
the lack
you're
of
better than I am.
self-awareness. The lack of self-awareness with
stunning.
these. It is.
When the eyes are dark.
Unbelievable.
Right? When the eyes are dark,
And you know what the irony of that is?
they can't even see what
They can't even see the irony of it.
No.
You
They're
are
so
upset.
blind. They're so blind.
You're upset that some people object to your murder of babies in the womb.
Right.
And the way you solve it is the murder of those who are trying to stop the murder of babies in the womb.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
I just,
So they've proven that it's not just the unborn they don't care about. It's anybody
or
who
the
disagrees
unborn,
with
they don't mind murdering.
They don't mind murdering the unborn, and now they're fine, apparently, with joking.
Boy,
Sure you were joking about killing
unbelievable.
the born.
Well, no, she didn't say she was joking.
No,
No.
she never
She
did.
No,
Didn't
no.
back off a bit.
Joyless tried to save her
Right.
and said, "Oh, she's just joking. Because they'll just pick up on something like that and run with it. Yeah. And Jane Fonda, to her credit, she didn't apologize. She just looked. She meant it.
She absolutely did.
Yeah.
She meant it.
That is how much these women
Boy.
worship abortion. And I love that she called it. She said children. She knows it's killing children. She said
what?
We've experienced, what it's like to decide when and how many children we will have.
You're right. She did say that.
So she's not sticking with the party line that it's just a clump of cells.
They know it. I think deep down they know, Vicki. They know. Oh my. In broad daylight.
And you can still decide how many children you raise. You still can.
Yeah.
You don't want the baby?
Of course.
Give the baby up for adoption.
There are lots of
Nobody's
people
forcing
who do.
motherhood on anybody. The baby's going to come. This is why I keep saying, once you're pregnant, the baby's coming out one way or another. Just let the baby come out alive, whole, not in pieces,
Right.
and you can go on your merry way.
Doesn't
That's
even
all.
take that long.
No.
So, yeah.
No. And Abby, for you disagreeing, she advocated murder.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we should all three be murdered.
It's a good thing the Coliseum isn't functioning yet.
Yet.
We're not laughing because this is funny, everybody. We're just kind of, you gotta laugh because what else are you gonna do?
It is
When
funny.
people-
It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Okay.
All right, so that's with Jane Fonda wanting pro-lifers murdered. Now we're going to go across the pond to the UK. Our first video is about a woman who was arrested for praying silently
Oh my
in
God.
a public
unreal.
area.
In the public area right before. And again, I think Europe is always a few years ahead of us as we continue to look at the persecution of Christianity. Most people don't realize how prevalent it is.
Because it's a lot more godless than the United States. They don't have the Christian activists that they do here. It's at least not nearly as strong as it is here.
Yeah, but the few that they do have, they got to crack down on. This woman became famous with a viral video. She actually got arrested. For those of you who don't know, she got arrested for praying silently. Here we go.
Before I ask you any questions about what's going on today, I have to caution you, which is just your rights, which is you do not have to say anything. Your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given. What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing here.
Okay. Why here of all places? I know you don't live nearby.
But this is an abortion centre.
Okay, that's why you're still here. Is you standing here part of the protest?
No, I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I might be praying in my head out loud.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken public spaces protection order?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the Public Spaces Protection Order, which is under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014. Now, of course, you do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later on in court, anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand the caution?
I do, yes.
Your arrest is necessary in order for the prompt and effective investigation into the offence. What that means is so that I can ask you some questions. And also to protect vulnerable people, mainly service users in the building. Okay? So you'll accompany us now to the police station. You get booked in front of a custody sergeant. And then if you want a solicitor, you can have a solicitor and we'll interview you. Okay? I don't intend to handcuff you, but obviously my colleague will search you because you're going to get into a police car and make sure you don't have anything that you can harm us or anything.
Want to empty my pocket? No, I'll do it.
She is then arrested and taken into police custody. I have no words.
She was not causing a disturbance. She was not saying anything out loud. She was standing there praying in her head.
But the law was designed, did you hear him, to protect the vulnerable.
Oh my God.
And she was a threat to the vulnerable.
Her mere presence.
What's more vulnerable than
No,
an
not just her
unborn
mere
baby?
presence. Not just her mere presence. Praying in your head is
Right.
attacking vulnerable people.
I got nothing.
Let me say this. I think this is evident that the other side understands the reality of spiritual warfare. The real quick sermon illustration. Yeah, about the liquor store that opened on the corner of the church, and the church prayed, Lord, remove this liquor store from the same block with us, and lightning struck it and burnt it to the ground, and the store owner sued the church for burning the church down, and they went to the court, and the pastor of the church said, I had nothing to do with it. And the owner of the liquor store said, you're lying. Y'all prayed every week to remove my church, remove my store. And then the judge stepped in and said, oh, here's one thing real clear. The pastor of the church doesn't believe in the power of prayer, but the owner of the liquor store does. Think about this. Why would you even care?
Right.
If prayer wasn't effective, and if God wasn't real, why would you care if someone prayed silently at the abortion clinic? Why would you care? I think they're tipping their hand that this is, in fact, a spiritual warfare.
It's intimidating.
And Satan doesn't like
Pastor
that.
James. It's intimidating.
Yeah, to
it
stand there
intimidates
silently.
the women who are coming to the clinic.
Yeah.
See,
I think they are acknowledging what I mean by they, the other side, the ultimate person who persecutes Christianity and true believers. The other side, he knows prayer works. He doesn't want it there. He doesn't want it there. So.
yeah, he sure does.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
He knows it. Again, I want to be clear. The woman, I want to be clear. The woman was praying silently in her head, and that was against the law.
Failing to comply with public spaces protection order.
Right.
So they're protecting public spaces from silent prayer.
From people standing there quietly, not holding a sign, not doing anything.
Okay.
Thought crimes. Being arrested for thought crimes.
And nobody seems to notice that. I mean, even if you're this pro-abortion advocate, none of these people seem to notice that. You know, when they're done with us, they're coming for you. If we can't have our own thoughts, then neither can you.
Right.
But again, Abby, they don't think about that.
I know. You're right. You're absolutely right.
No. So she was acquitted of the charges.
Very pleased to say that I've been completely vindicated of any wrongdoing. It should never have come to this. I should never have been arrested and criminalised simply for my private thoughts on a public street. When I was taken to the police station, I was asked there what I was praying for, what I was thinking about, and I told them that I'd been praying for people like my friend Amy, who was abused and became pregnant and was pressured into having an abortion. For people like my friend Natalia, who took abortion tablets and ended up passing her child at home alone. And she saw that child down the toilet, which has traumatized her for life. For people like my friend Kirsty, who also took abortion tablets, and she passed her child in her bed. And when she removed the bedclothes, she saw what she described as a scene from a horror movie. These are the people I've been praying for. And this is where the true crime exists. That women are sold the lie that the answer to their difficulties in pregnancy is to take the life of their child, and that those who are trying to offer alternatives are being branded as criminals and told that their behaviour is antisocial. What is profoundly antisocial is that in 2023 there are still certain members of our society who are having their most fundamental rights taken from them, the right to life itself, and that other freedoms are now being censored. The freedom to offer help, the freedom to speak, the freedom to pray, even the freedom to think. We must stand up for these fundamental freedoms and ensure that all our laws uphold them. Ultimately, I was arrested because of a very confusing and far-reaching public space protection order, a censorship zone. And I would like to ask all of the elected members of Parliament in Westminster to take notice of this and look at what has happened to myself and to Father Sean and consider this before they pass Clause 9 of the Public Order Bill. This would mean that exclusion zones were happening all over the country outside every abortion centre. Nobody should be criminalised for their thoughts.
I wouldn't think that would have to be said out loud.
No, you don't, but
here we are.
And I just want to say that she was so articulate.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminded me of the scripture that talks about when you are brought before kings. I will tell you what to say. I mean, she didn't skip a beat, and she laid it right out there, the truth. And it was amazing. Amazing witness.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened 3 weeks later?
Yeah, it would be wonderful if that was the end of the story. But guess what happened 3 weeks later? Here we go.
Yeah.
Can I please ask you to step away from here and step outside the exclusion zone?
I'm protesting and engaging in any of the activities.
But you've said you're engaging in prayer, which is the offence.
It's silent prayer.
No, but you are still engaging in prayer. It is an offence.
I disagree.
Okay then. So you would rather that you be arrested and taken away than stand outside the exclusion zone? Is that what you're saying?
Are those the only two alternatives?
Yes.
I don't think I'm doing public offence. I'm not protesting.
So again, she was arrested.
For doing the exact same thing.
The courts had just vindicated her.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't. She got arrested again.
Well, maybe not. Maybe the police were the last to know, but
It's pure harassment at
right.
that point. They know what the outcome's going to be
And again,
right? Or
I don't know.
it's like Jack Phillips. He was vindicated, and then they
Right.
just kept bullying him and bullying him and bullying him. Just that's what they're doing.
Jack Phillips.
he's the cake baker in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Again, the crime wasn't standing in the zone. The crime was standing in the zone, praying in your head.
Right.
That was the crime.
Engaging in prayer is the offense, is what he said.
Yep, that's exactly what he said. Engaging in prayer
Wow.
in the Satan zone. Has to be a Satan zone.
Apparently, it's not safe for prayer.
No, you can't do that.
Safe to kill your baby. Not so safe for prayer.
We've got to do something about this. What can we do? Just pray. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing too.
I mean,
take it as a warning, everybody. It's coming here.
yeah.
I mean, unless we turn this around, if God turns this around, it's coming here.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. All right, so moving on, we're going to come back to America now for this story. Glendale, Arizona, to be specific. Arizona Christian University had an 11-year partnership with the local elementary school district to have their students be student teachers. And nothing happened. None of their college students had done anything wrong. Everything was going fine. But one of the board members was really unhappy that they were considering re-upping the agreement to have these Christian students come and be student teachers. So we've got a clip for that.
And going directly from their website, okay, I'm going to start with our values first. Our vision in Washington Elementary School District is committed to achieving excellence for every child, every day, every opportunity. Every child. When I go to Arizona Christian University's website, and I'm taking this directly from their website. Above all else, be committed to Jesus Christ, accomplishing his will and advancing his kingdom on earth as in heaven. Part of their values is influence, engage, and transform the culture with truth by promoting the biblically informed values that are foundational to Western civilization, including the centrality of family, traditional sexual morality, and lifelong marriage between one man and one woman. I want to know how bringing people from an institution that is ingrained in their values that will very directly, one, impact 3 of your board members who are a part of the LGBTQ community. We have added our pronouns at the dais as solidarity to let our LGBT community know that we stand in making sure that they feel protected. Are we only performing performative solidarity, or are we going to dig deep and actually look at the partnerships that we're doing?
And by digging deep, she wants them to not renew the agreement with the church or the organization?
With the university.
With the university.
With the university.
Correct.
So she doesn't even want these students to exist on campus, in their classrooms, at their elementary school district classrooms.
Right.
They can't even exist.
There's no crime or anything that's actually happened.
There is
here.
a crime. They're thinking the wrong way.
Exactly. There is
More
a theme
thought
here
crimes.
tonight, folks.
Yep.
Yep.
You cannot have those values. If you have those values, you are welcome. You aren't welcome.
Right.
Because the most important thing is making sure LGBT feels protected. And the only way you can do that is to get rid of people who do not share their values.
Correct.
Even if they don't speak about them.
Right.
Just their mere presence. Because they might be thinking something you don't agree with.
Oh my gosh, and if they're praying.
Yeah. And she said from the very beginning, I'm going to take from their website, here's what their mission is. Because their mission doesn't align with our mission. To advance Jesus Christ and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. She said it.
Yeah, she included that. That was interesting.
Yeah.
It wasn't just biblical values, sexual morality, and normal marriage. It was Jesus.
Yeah. No, can't have that.
I find it so fascinating. Again, Vicki said earlier, these people are, I've never seen people that lack such self-awareness. They really
Abby,
do think that they are, I'm telling you, they really have justified themselves completely in their head. And what it means, their rights here, if they get all the civil rights that they want to get.
They've got them.
Well, no, clearly it's not enough.
No, they've got the civil rights. They want complete agreement.
No, listen. What
go
I'm trying
They
to
want
say is
celebration.
I'm sorry,
their
go ahead. Yeah,
definition of civil rights is to destroy everybody else's.
Right.
Or at
And
least
to be affirmed and celebrated.
Yes.
They have decided that you can't disagree with me. You must
Yes.
affirm and celebrate me because that is my
Yes.
civil right.
Everyone has to celebrate you.
right.
Even though that standard has never been applied to anybody else.
No,
in
never.
culture.
They are the most powerful oppressive minority.
But
Oppressed? Wait, I'm sorry. They call themselves oppressed, but they've got more power than anybody, than any group. Yes. To tell everybody else how to act, how to feel, where they can work.
except in Florida,
Except in Florida, yeah.
Texas, and some other parts down.
I don't know about Texas so much anymore, but Florida,
No, Texas
definitely.
is still there. I thought. I know because I looked at a map in which I think when I was doing some research, the next clip is with the female basketball team, and in one of the articles they actually showed the states that passed laws about biological kids only competing in with the biological, but they were born biologically, and it's all the South, pretty much. Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, they've passed it.
Oh, they have passed laws recently?
18 of them. And
that's great.
A majority of them is right there in the South. But Abby, I don't know. I don't know if I agree, Abby. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying they think. Say what you said again.
All right, maybe I'll say it better. Their definition of LGBT civil rights is the destruction of our rights, of everybody else's.
Because you're evil.
Right. Yeah, because
they don't want equal rights. They want special rights. And for them to have their special rights, we have to have no rights.
Because you're evil.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. But again, what goes on in their heads?
They really do think, a lot of them do think they're oppressed, which is...
Yeah, I don't know what world they live in.
Ridiculous at this point. You can't even... And that is the narrative. They're an oppressed minority. And that's why they need protection, making sure that LGBTQ feels protected.
Every school board meeting, we have to protect the victims, these poor kids, even though they're trampling the rights of every other child.
These child victims.
Yeah, it is, man, I guess so. It's just, that thought is so foreign to me. So we are doing things in our community, which is causing us to have a lot of love messages being left on our phone in our phone service. And the last one, if you remember, the guy says, because we are saying, he went to the website and we do believe marriage is between one man and one woman, that God doesn't make mistakes, and stop telling children their mistakes. In this message, if you remember, he says, you guys are destroying us.
You're ruining us.
Mm-hmm. I thought, you say ruin or destroy?
Yeah, he said ruining.
You're ruining us. And I'm thinking, whoa, you got what you wanted in the schools and whatnot, at least around here. They're going forward with it. But the mere dissent to the ideology
cannot be tolerated.
Is equated to ruining us. I mean, that
They've
mindset
had so little
is
dissent
unbelievable.
Too. Let's be honest.
Including churches.
Absolutely.
They're
not used to getting pushback.
That is so. At least where we are, Abby. They're not getting where we are up in North. We're in the Socialist Republic of Illinois, where our governor is 100% on board with this.
Yeah, and in Arizona too, because here is that board member we heard speaking.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is the board member we heard speaking, Tamilia. This is her bio. Is currently serving her first term on the governing board after being elected in November 2022. She is a bilingual, disabled, neurodivergent, queer, Black Latina. She loves a good hot wing and things that sparkle.
You have seen her picture. You have seen her picture
everything.
with the cat ears.
She's got
What's
cat
up with
ears.
cat ears?
Mm-hmm.
She wears them. She's at the board meeting with the cat ears.
Is she a furry also?
I was wondering that. It didn't say that.
It's not in her bio.
So she's not human anymore.
But I looked her up, and there are all kinds of pictures of her in all kinds of places wearing these cat ears.
She's a furry.
Maybe she is.
But she's oppressed.
She's transhuman.
Don't forget.
Right. That's right.
Wow.
The only place I found her without her cat ears was
in church.
her campaign picture.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't wear the cat ears for the campaign.
So she had enough sense,
right,
not to put the cat ears
in the campaign photo.
Oh my.
Yep.
So there has been a suit filed by Alliance Defending Freedom against the school district, alleging that the district terminated its relationship with Arizona Christian University and its students strictly because of their religious status and beliefs, obviously, despite having zero evidence of any incident by an Arizona Christian student that violated any school district policy.
No.
So
it's the belief in the God of the Bible and the Lord Jesus Christ. It's the belief that's being outlawed. Mm-hmm. It is flat out, that is what's being outlawed.
Yep. They're not hiding anymore. We cannot think differently. I mean, we all agree, don't hurt anybody. But now we can't even, our views can't even be different.
Nope.
Right.
Can't do it.
It's not enough to, they cannot tolerate people who think that what they're doing is wrong.
Let's be clear. They can't tolerate Christians who think.
No, well, don't you think part of this,
Who else is standing up against it as mob?
No, they aren't. But don't you think that at some level, I mean, obviously there are a lot of different motivations. There are a lot of different groups involved in pushing this. But at some level, I do think that they think that if they can get the whole world on this train, then they will feel better about it. They would never say that, I don't think. But then because the reason that they don't feel good about it and they're not satisfied is because we exist, basically.
And there is not a group on earth that existed at any point in history that had 100% agreement with everybody else on earth. It's never going to happen.
Nor should it.
Nor should it. But that's their goal.
Yep.
And you know why? Because this is one of the tricks, one of the things I've learned dealing with people in psychiatric unit. This is one of the tricks. You create a situation that will never exist so that you could never say that you're wrong. Does that make sense? So if I'm in a marriage, if I'm in a marriage and it's, let's say it's my wife's fault, all my problems wife's fault. It's not until my wife will agree with me 100%. If she agreed with me 100%, then I will feel whole. I will feel as a man.
Yes.
Well, that's never going to happen.
It's pure narcissism.
It's never going to happen. Or if it's like a wife saying, until my husband never changes his tone of voice, always does the dishes, and talk to me for 2 hours a night in a soft, warm, cuddly voice, until he does that, I'm always going to feel bad inside. Well, if you married a man, that probably will never happen. And even if he does it for 9 days, he messed up on the 10th day, whoop, see, he's not doing. Well, you just created something that will never happen.
Yeah, it's fantasy world.
It's fantasy world. But in that way, I never have to look at myself.
Exactly.
I never have to. I never have to examine that. Well, maybe I'm off in my thinking, or maybe what I want is not going to give me pure satisfaction. So what do? They create this narrative in their mind that everybody has to agree with them, and then they'll feel good.
Yep.
It's never going to happen.
Nope.
It's never going to happen.
But they're going to destroy a lot of people trying to make it happen.
They're going to try. Yeah. Oh, they're absolutely going to try. And the few times, a church or a Christian organization stands up to the nonsense, the state will use everything in its power to crush said Christian opposition. We are here right now. You know, my friend Calvin Lindstrom, Christian Liberty Academy, right here in Arlington Heights, was one of the few schools that said we are not wearing a mask and we're not shutting down. What did Pritzker say? That's it. I just said you can no longer compete.
Right.
Well, in Connecticut, what made the news was that in the Christian playoffs, the Christian school was going up against a school with a transgender player. A boy was playing on a girl's team. And the Christian school said, nope, we withdraw. We're not, the principal said, I'm not going to put my girls up against that boy and injure my girls. And the empire struck back. Here we go.
A private religious school banned from all state-run activities and athletics with other schools in Vermont.
Today, the Vermont Principals Association issued a letter to Mid-Vermont Christian School announcing the decision after the girls' basketball team refused to play against an opponent with a transgender student athlete. Channel 3's Christina Guessford joins us live now from the newsroom. Christina, you have the letter. What does it say?
Kat, on February 21st, the White River Junction-based school was scheduled to play Long Trail, a small co-ed college prep school in Dorset. This letter says forfeiting that Division IV playoff game violates VPA policies, which they say align with state law. Those policies, the first and second on the list of rules, commitment to racial, gender, fair, and disability awareness, and policy on gender identity, respectively. This means the Eagles are ineligible to compete in all Vermont sports or interscholastic activities from now on. Mid-Vermont Christian's head of school, Vicki justified the move in a statement to the Valley News, writing, quote, "We withdrew from the tournament because we believe playing against an opponent with a biological male jeopardizes the fairness of the game and the safety of our players." She continues, quote, "Allowing biological males to participate in women's sports sets a bad precedent for the future of women's sports in general." Fogg's rationale, the VPA says, is another reason why executive leadership today made this decision. Live in the newsroom, Christina Gesford, Channel 3 News.
Her rationale that a biological male should not be playing against females, that's the reason for the move. And so they can't compete in any sport or any activity. So you want to talk about chess and speech? Nope. No interscholastic. None of it. Done.
Wow.
Done. Because they refuse to put their girls up against a boy.
They have to be punished.
They had to be punished
and
because we can't let this spread.
Right.
Can't let this spread.
That's right.
You cannot say the emperor has no clothes. That won't be tolerated because others may recognize the emperor has no clothes.
And
so
that's
they
really
struck.
the only way to shut this down. Is if women will not compete with men.
Yep.
That's the only way to shut it down.
It is.
And girls will not compete with boys.
They should have given that team the state championship with all forfeits. Should have done it. Go ahead, take the championship trophy back home, and put that up in your window and celebrate it.
Yeah.
Forfeit. But truth be told, Abby, there's not enough courage in Vermont to do that. Hats off, and I actually know a pastor in that district, part of the Christian Emergency League.
Oh.
And I said, is that school solid on everything? He's, oh yeah, they're solid.
Amen.
I think his kids go there, or they're going to go there. But he's a pastor in that district. So, yeah, it's a good Christian school. Good Christian school. Hats off to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I mean, can you imagine too? Even because at a lot of these Christian schools, there are people there who put their kids there who are not Christian. Who I was thinking, man, he probably got pushed back from his own parents, depending.
You mean the boy who was playing?
No, I'm talking about it wasn't necessarily a principal. It could have been a female principal too, but the principal of the Christian school might have even got pushed back from the parents of the kids at his school or her school.
Yep, she did. Well, she may have. She may have, but you know what? She stood strong.
Yep.
She stood. Hats off to her.
Yeah.
She stood strong.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I heard parents, that they were offended when, it was suggested that the girls just should refuse to participate.
They did do that?
No, I'm just saying in general, about this issue, like locally, parents would be like, well, my daughter shouldn't have to, sacrifice, her future and refuse to participate, and take a stand. So yeah, there is a big lack of courage. They're thinking short term instead of long term.
2 inches in front of their face.
Yep. This is your moment to stand up for something very important.
Mm-hmm.
And most parents, even if the girls wanted to refuse, a lot of their parents probably wouldn't let them. Unfortunately. So hats off to the parents who are raising their girls to be strong.
Yep.
And you know what I was thinking? For so many years with feminism and stuff, the women have demanded access to occupations and things that are typically men. For instance, like construction, where being strong really, you need to be strong in construction. I see them so often holding flags. I'm just going to say that.
You can say that, Abby.
You're not going to comment, but I can say it.
No,
and for instance, like in combat positions, and even that they talk about
they
firemen.
Tried.
I'm like,
couldn't do it.
Yeah, even like a fireman, like a woman would not be able to drag my husband out of it would be very difficult.
Most men can't do it. Yes.
And And so, and they even had to, the entrance, the physical requirements, they had to make them easier so that women could. And all I'm saying is, you know what, this has been going on for a long time.
Yep.
In the opposite direction. And now, isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
With the men coming into the women's space.
And I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, Rush Limbaugh was commenting when you first started to see all the foolishness that's happening with the NFL. And it started happening 10, 15 years ago. And they started to nitpick on some of the rules and XYZ. And he came up with a brilliant analysis, which later on proved to be true. He said the reason why the culture has to destroy the NFL is because that's the last bastion that women can't mimic. You can have women's basketball, you can have women's wrestling, not even wrestling, women baseball and softball and whatnot. But there's no women NFL. Because most men can't do it.
Right.
It's violent. It's testosterone. It was by far the number one sport in America until they started introducing all the politics into it. But he said, this culture, he says, you watch. The United States of America, the more it moves left, they will develop a hatred and they will destroy the NFL. And I'll be doggone if he wasn't telling the truth.
Yeah.
So, because that was the last holdout, he says, where men could be just pure men and be brutal, right? And that's why people love it, because it's brutal, right? Here's the last clip I have. It's not that it's just, and here's what's concerning. We're going to start doing more eschatological topics.
End times.
End times, okay. So I'll say it. The end times. End times.
Big words.
End times. Because this is not just happening in the United States of America. This is happening all over the world, in which the Christian God and the Christian worldview is under attack. We'll go once again over the pond. Here he is.
Whilst persecution is growing around the world, we enjoy many freedoms at home. We have the protection of religious freedom under the law, but that hasn't stopped intolerance from growing in the UK. Dr. Richard Scott, as an example, a British GP, was investigated by the General Medical Council for praying with his patients. Nigel and Sally Rowe, who I'll be talking to later, questioned their son's Church of England primary school around trans issues and were told that misgendering a child is considered transphobic behaviour. My friend, the Reverend Bernard Randall, was fired from his role as a chaplain at a Church of England school for telling pupils they had the right to decide for themselves what they thought about identity politics. Doctors decided it was in Archie Battersby's best interests to die when his family wanted to keep fighting for his life. Mayoral candidate Maureen Martin lost her job at a housing association for expressing Christian beliefs on marriage. Christy Higgs lost a job as a pastoral assistant in a school after sharing concerns on her private Facebook about the politically infested relationships and sex education, which many, including myself, believe has become politically infested. Dr. Dermot Kearney was investigated after providing emergency life-saving treatment to unborn babies for women who regretted taking the abortion pill. And Mary Onowa was pushed out of her long career as a nurse because she wore a cross necklace. Unfortunately, this list goes on, and I don't have time to go through them all, but it seems it's no longer socially acceptable in this Christian country to hold Christian views.
Yep. It's happening all over, and we can go on and on and on and on. We can even point to our little congregation here in Palatine, Illinois, how we've come under attack because of the stances we take that are Christian.
Yes, and it's interesting how they I don't know if it's government workers just tend to flock together or what it is.
I don't know about the flock, Abby. Like I said, Satan doesn't need you to agree as long as you keep silent when he's going forward. Doesn't need you to agree. Satan doesn't need you to agree.
Well, I mean, our activism has been pretty much confined to the schools. Yet. We get pushback from all kinds of, in all kinds of areas.
Well, I think because the government, they actually have power to whereas the nutball in his mother's basement has none. See, if you're a government official, you have power to exercise where other people don't.
And exercise it they will.
And exercise it they will, and exercise it they have. Mm-hmm. In various, whatever area. They'll make it up.
Individuals in government departments, local government departments,
Yes. So I'm pretty sure that some of the people that have been leaving those wonderful messages on our phone, if they had the power, we might be in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It is. It's sad. It's sad where we are. But you know what? Again, let's flip it around and leave on a positive note. While I say it's sad, these things must happen before he comes back.
Yeah, true.
And that's what my hope is. I just said, and I've said it before, people aren't just stupid. People aren't just this dumb. This is not natural. I don't think it's natural. I don't think it's natural.
It's so outrageous.
It is.
So many completely
it's so over the top,
crazy things that are completely irrational and destructive, and obviously so.
Obviously so. We literally had an incident just recently with the release of the January videos, where they literally made the argument to the people: believe us. Don't believe your lying eyes. Believe us. That is unbelievable to me. That ain't normal. Usually, but I want to say 30, 40 years ago, people just start resigning in shame. Or they've been pushed out by other more honorable people in their parties. Not today. They just all start saying, what you saw, you didn't see. Not true. And the opposition, you realize what the characters doing in all of this. The Republicans aren't saying anything.
Right, exactly.
It's a uniparty.
Yeah.
It's a uniparty. And so on all of the issues that if the government pushes and adopts, Christians can't function, the Republicans aren't pushing back on it. They're just not.
No.
Well, and even, they're getting so tough on where'd that virus come from? Oh, it was a lab leak. Well, you know what? Okay, that is so beside the point. At this, they're still pushing this shot.
Yeah.
And they're arguing about whether or not it was a lab leak. You understand what I'm saying? It's so beside the point.
Yeah.
They're still killing people. They're still approving it for kids.
It's deflection.
Yeah, it's all about the lab leak now.
Yeah.
What little is being said.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is.
Yeah. So I think I hope these are the birth pangs.
Me
If
too.
these are the birth pangs, it's worth it. Right?
Of course. Oh, absolutely.
I think it's worth it if it's the birth pangs.
Well, and it drives us toward our Lord as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, much more so than if things were going swimmingly.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Vicki, anything else before we go?
No, just when we now seeing how bad other people have it. I mean, we don't have it great, but other people have it so much worse. We have to speak out. We have no choice.
We have no choice. And one of the things we are learning by being involved in this, whether you're talking about books or whatever, abortion, it is a spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that push back, they let you know. Because they take the Lord's name out of vain and they put all type of cuss words attached to it. They know. And this is a spiritual warfare, spiritual battle. So, all right. Thank you all for being with us on our roundtable tonight.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later. Good night.